Welcome to the Intimacy Lab. I'm Michelle Renee, an intimacy guide, surrogate partner, and professional cuddler. We're here to talk about intimacy in a much broader view than what you're probably thinking. Most people think about intimacy as sex. We're going to break that apart here. Welcome to the lab. Welcome back to the Intimacy Lab with Michelle Renee. That's me. I have my wonderful friend and colleague, Adelina Adler, joining us today because we're going to do a soft cock week wrap-up.
Wrapping it all nice and cozy. Love that.
Yeah. We're doing video this week, which isn't always the norm for this, but
I like experimenting, new things.
I feel like I can go back and forth. I wanted to make this more approachable for people that weren't comfortable being on video. I'm super comfortable being on video.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I conquered this fear a long time ago.
Heck yeah. I mean, it could always be an option, either or. You can have it and then take away the video. Options are nice.
Well, here's my vision when I first started this was I wanted it to be a place where clients could come talk about their work with touch professionals.
Oh, I love that.
And not having video makes it much more anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of setting the tone with that, but I love video. I don't mind it. And actually, you know what? It's easier for me to send the podcast out when I include video.
Yeah.
It's actually more work for me to do it without video because then I have to actually go in and do things to make it ready for like YouTube and things like that. So,
well, that settles it. A video it is for this time. Plus, we get to see your cute dog. I just saw a little fluffy tail. And
yeah, he
was
just
wonderful.
like flopped himself on the floor. Very like dramatic flop.
I'm waiting for my boy to, at some point in time, include his opinion because he is very vocal. So I had a talk with him beforehand and said, we can talk about this afterwards, Christopher. But for now, it's mine.
Hold that thought.
Hold that thought.
Yeah, no, mine's like a little terrorist. He's like a 3-year-old when he wants something and he knows that his bark makes me jump to do anything to get it to shut the fuck up.
They've got us trained.
And any of my clients that are listening to this, they know. They know. Except for maybe if you're an East Coast client. I used to use a doggy daycare, which was quite the luxury to like take my dog and drop him off and like, Mama's got to work today.
I bet they had a good time. Those doggy daycares are pretty luxury sometimes. They've got like little mist baths, little salt pools, some of them. There was one locally that was amazing.
Mine didn't do that, but he was considered a senior, one of the more the older dogs, and so he got to sit behind the counter with the dogs that had just recovered from surgery or things like that. They were being watched extra careful.
That's precious.
And he just sat on someone's lap the entire day that he was there.
Oh, and that still sounds amazing. I always say that, if reincarnation is a thing, I want to be a sweet dog or cat. Cats have a lot of mobility. I've been watching Mr. Kitters and his adventures on TikTok. And I want to be in a loving family that can afford to take care of me. That caveat is very important. Nice and cozy.
I don't know if I can always afford to send my dog to daycare. But it just felt necessary at some point. I haven't done it here yet in San Diego. And part of it is that I don't want to have to drive to take my dog and drop him off somewhere before a session.
Fair. Have you had any awkward cold snoots in places interrupting you?
No, I mean, he doesn't come into session. He doesn't come into session with me unless it's been negotiated.
Okay.
I do have a client that we negotiated a sliding scale rate. And part of that rate was, can my dog just be with us? Because it makes for less stress on me. I put my husband through the keep the dog quiet in another space kind of responsibility. And it's hard on him too. So, I'm making my goals for the new year.
Heck yeah.
By the end of 2024, I want an office space.
I love this. We're manifesting it. Let it happen. Let it be so. A good little office.
I have a plan. I have a plan, San Diego. Watch out.
Michelle Renee is coming to you.
I plan to be in a therapy suite with other therapists. So preferably ones that really love what I do and we can offer some wraparound care.
I love
right?
that. It's all in one little concentrated space. Beautiful. You can have a really nice, lush, little cozy office. Oh, I dream of the day.
And if we were all collaborating too on top of it, oh my goodness.
Goals.
The cool things that could happen. Anyways,
yes.
Adelina Adler.
Hi,
you
everyone.
should introduce yourself. Let the people know who this voice is attached to.
Hello, sultry listeners of the Intimacy Lab. I am Adelina Adler. Pronouns are she, they. I'm a sex coach and educator based in southeastern North Carolina, focusing mainly on GSRD populations, gender, sex, and relationship diverse communities. With over 4 years of experience in empowerment, education, and community building initiatives, I'm also a former sex worker, current kinkster, and host of the Sexplorations with Adelina Adler podcast, available on YouTube and Spotify, which will be coming back next month in a big way, and I'm super excited. I will be having Michelle as one of my guests. In fact, that recording will be happening, I think, oh my goodness, next week. Next weekend. I should probably get started on making those notes happen.
We are recording on Thursday, November 16th. I just want to note this because we need a fast turnaround. This one's dropping tomorrow. So this is going to be real, almost live.
Oh, wow.
It's almost a live podcast.
You're getting it fresh, hot and steamy.
Yeah.
We love that. We love all of those things.
I got kind of tied up in soft cocks.
So, you know what? That's not a bad thing to be tied up in. Surrounded by soft cock.
You can tie a soft cock, right?
Yeah,
you can.
Yes, you can.
You can tie a knot in it.
I've tied many a soft cock with a nice little thin 550 cord. It's useful.
See, you are going to fit in to this space so well, Adelina. Not just in like my professional world, but in my heart. In my heart.
Nestled my way, one soft cock tie at a time.
Your way into my bosom. Yeah.
That's nice. I like good nestled bosoms. That's good.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
So I got a little carried away with Soft Cock Week podcast. If you're not listening to it, go check it out. It's also on your favorite podcast app, much like this one is. Mm-hmm. I did a lot of interviews for that, and I kind of put this one on the back shelf, this podcast on the back shelf for a little while. And so I was kind of in a pinch, and I was like, Adelina, you are part of Soft Cock Week. Come do a rap with me.
Yeah, I'll do it. I prepared 4 bars. They're kind of okay. I'm not a very good rapper or freestyler, but I will do my best.
There's video out there somewhere from middle school.
Sure. Oh no.
Where I was in a church production.
Oh no.
Of some, I don't remember what it was called. I don't remember what the musical was called. If I thought real hard, maybe had a little bit of hypnosis, I could probably figure it out. It was a 50s theme. Yeah, if you hear my dog, he's right in the microphone right now. So
ASMR.
Yeah, whatever. I am not a perfectionist. That is something, if you have any nerve to like contact me and tell me about the quality of this podcast, you will not get a response from me. I don't care. It was a 50s theme, kind of poodle skirts.
Was it like Grease? Like
something malt shop was the title. I don't even know. Yeah, look confused. It's okay. It was West Michigan in the 80s.
I'm here trying to figure out like a punny name for this 50s style.
Yeah. So it also Christian based.
Yeah,
musical,
bears and poodle skirts, right? Or something like that. Yeah.
There was a point I had to rap in it. How does that tie into 50s based poodle skirts? I don't know.
I mean, it was the 80s though, like, and everything had a rap in it. Like there was a cartoon animal rapping at people left and right. I think the Christian artist Carmen was also rapping at that point. I had that cassette.
Yes. So there, I know I have it. I've seen it. It's in my memory banks, and I say that as someone who has aphantasia. I do not see pictures, but I do remember feelings. Feelings are burned into me. It is so hard for me to forget how I felt, which has been really hard on my relationship. And one day we'll bring Paula in to talk about this. And actually, one of my friends goes,
session.
No, the other day I was at the beach. I was at Black's Beach, and one of my lovers, who I've talked very kindly of on many a podcast, The Pussy Whisperer.
I was going to say, was it the Whisperer? The Pussy Whisperer?
The Pussy Whisperer.
Your fame,
he's a fan. He's a fan of the show and of me. And we were at Black's Beach the other day, and he says, I haven't heard Paul on the show yet. And I'm like, it'll happen. Like, calm down. It'll happen. Yeah. I'm like, we've interviewed together before, and he hadn't heard that. So I sent him a link to another podcast that Paul and I were on together at one time. So yeah.
So what I'm hearing is
we can when you find and not even get to the
when you find this footage.
What were you saying, Eddie?
So what I hear is when you find this long lost footage, you and Paul are going to come on here together and do some heavy
and recreate the rapping.
Oh yeah, make a whole music video for it.
That's not going to be what happens. No.
By the way, we're wrapping off Soft Cock Week.
Right. The point being, let's circle back here. The point being that I have some trauma.
Yes.
Big surprise. We all do, right? I have some trauma in my history that is really hard for me to kind of move past. And I had a really lovely session with, again, names are really failing me today. So I'm losing it. Anyways, a lovely session with someone who is a poly coach. And we were not in a coaching session, but I was just like giving her some information about my experience around non-monogamy, and she's a jealousy researcher. Ooh, why is her name not coming to my head? Anyways, oops, sorry. I will get that into the show notes.
Put it in the show notes, yes. Whenever it fails you, put it in the show notes. It'll be there
show notes will always save me, right? That is my mantra. And when I brought up the aphantasia, that I don't see pictures, she goes, oh, well, this gets a little more complicated. Like, because she was asking me, like, could you just, like, could you paint a different picture in your head of, like, think of, like, what are you afraid of? Like, let's make a better picture, right? And I'm like, actually, the thing is like, I don't see pictures. And she's like, oh.
So she was doing a lot of visualization work where there is just nothing.
She's like, it's like a strike through.
I mean, like, right? You can work.
The story's still there.
Yeah, you can work with the feeling, though, right? Because the visualization sometimes, like, I can build from a feeling, especially when I'm working through something. I'll ask, what am I feeling? What is the sensation that I'm experiencing? Then I'll be like, what would I like? What's the remedial experience? And then I build the idea, or like, what does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that sound like? And those can still be, you can at least do the feeling part, I guess, right?
Again, this wasn't a coaching session, so she wasn't. I wasn't paying her to like take me through this, right? Like
this is just how I talk to my friends. Anyway,
share your experience with me. I'm a jealousy researcher. I would love to hear more, kind of thing. And so, so the general, the quick, without me paying for a lot of work around this, was like, oh yeah, with aphantasia, it's a little more complicated. That you hold on to these. What you hold is the feeling. I can tell you exactly how I felt in a space. I can't describe what the space was, right?
Interesting.
And that, since I see things in like words, it's like having a strike through the memory. Like you can rewrite the memory, but you can't really erase it.
That's so interesting. I wonder if like writing it out, like literally writing out the story and then rewriting the story physically would help. In a way, I don't know. That's me.
I wonder.
This is always so fascinating to me.
It totally shows up. If you want to be the moderator of the first conversation with Paul in this space, you would probably really.
Oh, I'd love it. Oh, yes, please.
Okay.
I volunteer for everything you do.
I'm going to tap into. I think this could turn into the Addie and Michelle show. Okay, so before we get started in the usual, we're not really strangers. I want to say real quick. The December cohort of the Cuddlist Basic Training has some openings in it. So if you are thinking about joining the December cohort, there is a 10% off code that I'll put in the show notes. It's always available, but I'm just saying, like, if you wanted to do it, you need the first 2 weeks of December kind of free, not completely free. It's like an hour or so of work a night is expected of you.
That's not bad.
But you get through basic training in 2 weeks. So if that's something that you're interested in, go to the show notes and get the code, because I think you probably want to save some money. But if you don't, you can just go to cuddlist.com and look at the training there. But anyways, I just want to drop that because we are recording, so like I know when this is coming out. I can throw a little plug for Cuddlist, which, mind you,
always,
I am the director of training there. I am definitely I do make a little money off of that code. I'm going to be completely honest, but I'm not an owner in the company. But I do highly endorse, or I wouldn't be the director. But also, it changed my life. And if you don't know that story, you can go back to one of the previous episodes and listen all about it. Anyhow.
It's such a great program, honestly.
It is a really great program. Totally changed my life. Anyways. So we're not really strangers.
We're going to play a game.
Addie and I are going to try something different today. Normally, beforehand, I've only done this with one other guest. Let's be fair. This is episode 4, I think. So, in episode 3, Vanessa and I, we went through, I picked a card out of each level, and then we decide which one we were going to answer. But Addie and I are going to go.
All of them.
We're going to do this differently. Let me adjust my seat. I need to get ready for this. Okay. This is going to turn into like a Joe Rogan length podcast, I'm pretty sure, by the time we're done. But that's okay.
But without the
Do you have a hard stop today?
What?
Well, without the misogyny and the asshole.
Yeah. Without the problematic bits.
I do appreciate some of the guests that are on there, though.
That's true.
Occasion,
there
so
are some really good
hear
guests.
me listen to it once in a while. Adelina, do you have a hard stop today?
No. I am
good.
Wide open.
I just want to make sure.
Thank you, though. I appreciate you looking into my
I want
time.
to make sure we have time to get to the soft cock and that we don't get...
Because we take it 30 minutes. Yes, let's do it.
Right? Okay.
Around the world with us.
I kind of love this video. So anyway.
Right.
Okay, so we're not really strangers. We're going to do a card. I'm going to randomly choose a card from each of the 3 levels, and we're going to answer each one of them this time.
Yes. Let's do it.
Okay, so
Challenge
level 1 is the perception level. Oh, I don't
need to get this
cards.
card set.
What is this set? Again. It's like a conversation kind of card deck thing called We're Not Really Strangers.
Oh, that's what the thing is called. Okay, because I want to get this. This is fun. Okay.
And they have lots of add-ons, like they have not even just add-ons, but you can buy different sets for like when it's family and not like specifically for family. They've like ones for like younger children.
Oh.
They have like first date sets.
Okay. Not a sponsor yet, but maybe. No, just kidding.
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to put a link in the show notes, and it is an Amazon affiliate code, so I might make 30 cents off it or something if you click on it.
Rake in the bags.
I don't do this podcast to make money. Initially, I do this podcast so people can get to know me better. Maybe they want to come work with me in San Diego. Right?
Hell yes. Good. I love this.
Yeah. Okay. And I just think it's fun. So our first question from the perception level: how many speeding tickets do you think I've gotten in my life? And we're both going to answer this question for the others. So, Adelina, tell me, how many speeding tickets do you think I've gotten?
3. I'm going to say a solid 3.
Okay. And I'm going to guess you've gotten, I bet you're a speed demon. And we're going to come back and we'll comment on what the truth is. I bet you've had at least 6.
Okay, well, now, listen, I'm going to have to count.
Okay.
Okay, I think I actually have 4. And I got a majority of them. One of them was just pure BS, let me tell you.
How many years have you been driving? I just want to ask the question.
I have been driving since I was... Well, technically, I've been driving since I was 18, but I had my own car since I was... Oh, wow. Technically, since 2011. 2011 is when I got my first car for myself. Other than that, I was driving my friends' cars. Never got a speeding ticket on my friends' cars, but I used to drive from here to Jacksonville.
But I just like how many years of experience?
Oh, plenty. Like,
Time
yeah,
behind
since
the
18.
wheel.
I'm 35 now. So, Math.
So you've had how many, you think?
So I thought for you 3. For me, it's not quite as high as 6. I think for me it's 4. Like,
Okay.
and I've gotten most of them dismissed.
You just seem like somebody who likes to drive fast.
I've got a Dodge Charger. I am
okay. I did not know this about you. Okay. I have gotten 0.
Oh, dude.
Not even a warning. And it's not that I don't speed. Well, some years. Let me tell you, when I switched over to a Ford Escape Hybrid, I was like, you can't even fucking take off.
You can't.
Like, you better look down the road very far to make sure you have enough time to get up to speed.
I can't. I get claustrophobic in cars like that. I drove my friend's car. She is also a very slow driver. Surprisingly much more dangerous driver than I.
I'm not a slow driver. I won't say I ever I say like around 10 above the speed limit is like my comfort zone. I'm a very assertive driver.
Oh yeah, me too.
And very confident driver.
Yes, me too. I'm like Jason Statham.
Yeah. I say that because my husband is, I'm like, are you just, I can feel your nervousness. Is it because I'm in the car with you? Or is it like you're this all the time? And he's like, this is just how I am. Been in a few car accidents. I'm like, oh, okay.
I do feel that.
Yeah. So I'm the driver in our family. And only a couple of my friends do I feel really good about letting them drive. So, so I have 0. And I've been driving 32 years.
Congratulations. So, that is impressive, honestly. Congratulations. You get like a little achievement.
I hope I'm not like, I don't want to be like, I'm not looking to like press my luck here. Not to jinx or anything like that.
Yeah, knock on some wood right now. Like,
California Highway Patrol, do not target my cars. And honestly, I drive cars that don't look like speed demons. You have a Charger. My son has a Charger. I should ask him if he's gotten his first ticket yet. I drive little micro machines, right? Like I have a Yaris, a little Toyota Yaris, and a little Chevy Spark.
I was like, Michelle, I literally was going to make the joke that you were driving around a Chevy Spark. Like because that was the car that my friend was driving. Like I was that did not take off.
It's
I know
super
exactly
cute.
What you're talking about.
It's so cute, and I bought it because it was on sale. Like I didn't. I just it was a couple years ago, and car prices have been stupid, right? And this was actually discounted, and I was like, I think it's because of the color. It's a very loud color. I ended up really falling in love with it eventually, but anyways.
All right, next card. Next
cute.
Enough about enough about our car.
I know, we could do this all day. Okay. Level 2 is connection.
Okay, I'm ready again.
I hate the wild cards. If you buy this deck, you'll understand.
It's too much responsibility. I don't want to come up with it.
Well, they're also, they feel way more vulnerable for me when I've done them in session with clients. That's what I love these cards for, in session cards. So,
okay.
Have you ever told someone I love? Oh, we did this last time with Vanessa. Okay, but we can answer it again. I already answered it, and I'm not going to repeat myself. So go back to episode 3 if you want to hear my answer to this. Adelina, have you ever told someone I love you, but I didn't mean it? And if so, why?
No. I have been very forthright from the beginning. Even when I became sexually active or romantically active, I always made a point to not waste anybody's time or my own with insincerity. Like if I felt back then, I was like, if I feel the need to cheat on you or the impulse to cheat on you, and my ideas on these things have evolved since then, but the point was back then I would say I'd rather tell you outright and spare us both wasted time. Like then we can move on, decide if we want to keep going, renegotiate what we're doing, or go separate ways. So I was always really good about not doing that. Plus the way I love people, because ding ding, I'm polyamorous. The way I conceive of love, I used to say I love in different levels. Like that's how the language I used back in the day. I was like, I have different levels of love, and like I love you, but on a certain level. That's not quite how I love this person, or not quite how this person is loved. It was early language for the sensation and sentiment. But yeah, like, so when I said it, I would mean it. I would mean it.
Yeah. Well, just the very short version of what I answered, because I think it's fair for you, Adeline. You're probably like, well, Michelle, what's your answer?
Yeah.
What came up for me in this question was like when I've said it out of obligation, that I did love the person, but it was really like an expectation that I returned that sentiment every time we hung up the phone. This is when I was married the first time.
Oh,
so
I see.
If you withheld it, there was a lot of emotional paperwork that was going to come down the line, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so it just became very repetitive, a habit, and
like
so
a chore.
It kind of lost a little bit of its meaning.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So now, like, if I don't feel like I have to say, like, if my partner says "love you," I don't feel like I have to say "love you" back. Like, I just go, "I know you do," and he really loves hearing that because he wants to convey that he loves me, and he wants to know that I feel that from him. So that's like, I don't have to answer a certain way anymore.
Yeah, I love that for you. I'm glad you got that space, found that space.
Yeah, I can't wait for you two to meet. We'll do it on an actual recording. That way we make it an episode. Okay,
that's perfect.
Level 3 is reflection. It's wild cards. God damn it!
He just wants to go wild, Michelle.
I just want to pull all the wild cards out of the deck and never do them. So I should just modify my own deck. Oh, how does one earn your vulnerability? Have I earned it? And how can I earn more?
Oh, that's a banger question. Ooh, 100 points for that one.
I can go first if you want, because I know you went first on the
ticket. Go ahead. You go first. Give me a minute to mull.
Yeah. How does one earn my vulnerability? Well, okay, so I need to say, I think people think of me as really vulnerable because I share a lot, right? I'm really open. But I don't think that it's really vulnerability if it's not scary.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. That's how I feel about it.
So, like, for me, the real vulnerable shit, Lord, if you haven't seen me in tears yet, you haven't tapped into my vulnerability yet. You just think that you have, like, that you have access to it. When I say something like, before this call, Adelina and I were talking about intakes, like, we're getting to know our clients. And I said something like, you know, it's important that I give a little vulnerability to get a little vulnerability. But that's a different, for me, that's about me sharing about my personal life so that they share a little bit more of their personal, like a give and take there. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about who do I let really see that intimacy, right? Perfect for the name of this podcast.
Yeah.
Len Daly, who was a trainer for Cuddle Party for years, he used to say, and I'm sure he's not the first person that said this, but I just hear him in my head, and it's on the top of my website. Into me you see, right? That's what intimacy is. And so that for me is like, oh, I'm letting down the pretty drapes, the, like, pulling back the curtain to, like, what isn't so polished.
The Wizard of Oz kind of man behind the curtain.
Yeah. So how do you earn that with me?
That was my chair.
I must feel a lot of safety.
Yeah.
Like, I have to feel incredibly safe with you. I have to feel like you can hold space.
Okay. I was about to say, what does safety look like to you or feel like to you, though? Like, what does that entail?
Well, it's how do I feel with a person is a lot of it, right? What am I noticing inside of me about how safe do I feel? It can look like, how does this person handle difficult conversations? Like, how do they respond to others? Are they able to self-reflect and take ownership and accountability, things like that?
That's a
pretty high fucking bar, honestly, as I'm sitting here talking about it.
That's a great one. I definitely had that one.
And some of it, I don't have any of that proof to. I just let them hold space, right? So, like, because I was thinking about, like, there's lovers in my life that I have said hold really great space. And I'm like, but how did I know they could do that? I didn't. I just trusted, and I tried it, and I saw their response or their lack of response.
Yeah. You put a little feeler
like,
out there.
Yeah, can I be open and they don't try to fix it or run away, or they can just hold it. There's a maturity, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of I get to hand out the golden ticket kind of thing. And I can't say for certainly how always I decide who gets the golden ticket. Brian Gibney, who was on episode 2, he always gets the golden ticket. Like, that man.
He does give very good, like, vibes. Like, as overused as that term is, like, instantaneously you feel safe around him, which is wild.
He knows, like, I don't ever hesitate to tell him the darker stuff, right? My husband clearly is that person too, for sure. But like my go through the episodes. Episode 1, Sarah, that's she gets the golden ticket, right?
Yeah.
I can go through. This is what I want about this podcast, though, is that it be a lot of people that I'm really close to. So how does one earn your vulnerability? Have I earned it? Have you earned it, Adelina? I've cried with you.
Yep. I was about to say, I was like, I think I have a golden ticket.
You do. Yeah. We've, again, I don't know why we've met through a colleague, and we shared a one-on-one, and like, now I wouldn't be opposed to sending you a Marco Polo of me on the toilet, right? Like,
totally
when
fine.
you hit a certain level is when I'm Marco Poloing you while I'm peeing. Like,
you're
you've
hit pee friends. My best friend and I are definitely
hit the inner circle.
Are definitely those friends. Oh, the golden tickets to the chocolate factory.
Yeah. Oh, fuck no! I still don't do that if I'm taking a shit. That is not.
That's where you're like, that's where my boundary is.
That is a limit.
That is.
I have
pee
limits.
happens. I think y'all, the intimacy professionals, all heard me pee because I didn't know how to do my phone on Zoom. Zoom on my phone, and I had forgotten to mute it. Remember when you were like, Adelina, you're unmuted. Girl, I was in the bathroom. I was washing my hands. I was flushing the toilet. I was chasing the dogs.
I don't think I remember hearing that part, but hey, God. I just knew you were talking, I think.
I was mortified.
No, I mean, I pee on the intimacy professional calls a lot. I just mute and walk out and go to the bathroom and come back in and have y'all in my earbuds. But
oh, okay, good. Because I did have a moment of like panic. I was like, well, they've gained access.
Yeah. So yes, you have it. How can you earn more? I mean, I think just being consistent in, not that you have to show up consistently, but being a consistent
presence
in how you respond to life. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I get that.
If I saw you respond to something else very like uncentered or
weird,
out of character, then I would be like, oh wait, maybe I can't really trust you. Oh, you know what? This kills me. If I hear you talk shit about somebody and then I see you kiss their ass.
Hypocrisy.
You can be cordial, right? But if I see that, I'm like, I don't know if I trust. Now I don't know if you are being genuine with me.
That was the first lesson I learned, right? As a kid.
And then I'll pull back. I'm a Scorpio. You'll be lucky if all I do is pull back. I might just burn the bridge.
Oh my goodness!
Right?
Yeah, you'll burn the bridge, create a moat. There'll be alligators and piranhas in it. like, no getting in.
No, I don't. I just pretend you don't exist again.
Well, like, that's true. You're just like, you go back to level 0. Like,
there's not even a ceremony around it. It's just, it's very cold and so that's anyways, so my dear,
full disclosure, I am a Gemini, and we get really bad flack for being two-faced, which is a sophomore take on this sign. It is about understanding duality and complex situations and the nature of multiple contexts. A strong, evolved Gemini is able to understand things from multiple perspectives and hold space for multiple perspectives at once, which is a challenge. And yeah, so I'm just letting you know.
I get you. I'm an Enneagram 2, which is a helper, which is known to have like shitty boundaries. Right? I am a evolved master 2. Right? Like,
I have no idea what
boundaries.
I looked it up.
Shit. It's
and
okay.
I forgot it.
There's
so one of my
I don't dive deep into any of these. I don't dive deep into being a Scorpio. I don't dive deep into my Enneagram. I don't dive deep into what is the other one? Like one of them is Myers-Briggs. Like human Myers-Briggs years ago. There's another one out there. I can't think of what it is. Anyways, doesn't matter. Okay, yeah. So Adelina, how does one?
First off, to answer that, I'd like to like kind of zero in on the answer of what is my vulnerability. Like, what does that look like? I think for me, especially with all the recent dreams I've had lately, they've been wild. They've been on the nose. I think vulnerability for me looks like being able to trust my care in my life or the care of me to someone. Hello, Diesel. Please stop being noisy. That's my dog. Other dog. So counting on them to be able to, when shit hits the fan, be capable and be present and able to function in a space that helps. Because I'm always the person who is a problem solver. I'm very action-oriented, solution-oriented. And a lot of times in my life, I have done that alone. I remember the depressive voice inside my head would say, when you break alone. And that used to be a very powerful sentiment. So while, like you, I am very candid about a lot of things. Like I share. I hold space very well for others. I think I've made it my life's mission to be a safe haven and a welcome place of reprieve for those who usually are also that for other people. Because I understand how it feels when nobody heals the healer. And so for me, to be able to put my fists down, metaphorically speaking, I'm not a big fighter, but I am like physically, I'm not picking fights. I am much more a dialogue-based person, negotiator.
You're a lover, not a fighter.
Yes, I do love, and I like de-escalating things if things get crazy. I'm good at it too. But I speak of fighting like in the sense of like, activism, like fighting for the downtrodden, like, or people who are being taken advantage of or exploited or things like that on bigger scales. And like also just like friend level things. I see a friend being picked on, and I've always been like this. To be able to have someone, and I used to cry thinking about this idea, like just give me a little forehead kiss, unball my hand, and just say, you can rest. It's okay. I've got this. I've got us. And to feel like it's true. That is true vulnerability for me, what it looks like these days. And to be able to earn that, I mean, we're working through years upon years of CPTSD on this front. But I find, and even to this day, when I'm surrounded by people who I love and who genuinely have been super supportive and such a great community, and both friends and lovers who are just some of the most exquisite people I have ever had the honor of being with, I still find it hard. I still find it uncomfortable. Like you were saying, uncomfortable to be in the space of, can I depend on you if anything were to ever really go awry? And in some segments, in some sectors, yes, absolutely I can. Like I know that if I were to ever fall ill or if I were pregnant or something like that, I know both my partners would be extremely supportive and beautiful and collaborative and all sorts of things. If a killer were to come into my household and try to murder me, I know my roommate would be an amazing, would take immediate action. Like if somebody were to assault me in any way, I know that my partners are both very much kind of shields. Like they're very good shields, but they're not swords, if that makes sense. I know my roommate, who is one of my partner's sister, is a great sword and shield and would immediately have my back and do right by me in that sense. So I'm learning to have that complete trust and vulnerability, like remain open and secure in that. So that's what it takes. In the other levels, like that's the deepest level of vulnerability. The other levels of vulnerability are, very much like your own. Where like if you've seen me cry, or if I've been able to tell you, if I'm free to tell you about all the things of my life and how I experience them, and we share ideas and perspectives and like that are challenging and also just validating and wonderful. I very much love that. That's my golden tickets that I hand out for friendships and companionship. And kind of like you said, I kind of have created these evaluations on people. Like people follow patterns sometimes. Like a lot of people, when they're shitty, they behave in certain ways. They speak in certain ways. There are signs, there are flags, red flags. Likewise, there are green flags. And you're absolutely one of those people who, same, like immediately, I thought to myself, she reminds me so much of one of my best friends named Nikki that I used to have. And she moved away to St. Louis. And she was my old roommate and everything too. And I still love her to death. Like such a sweet, passionate individual. And so, yeah, like there was something that helped to begin with because you gave me the same emotional signature, I guess, like the same feeling, this as they call it, vibes again. And so it was really easy to be like, oh, all right, she looks cool, she looks friendly, and then yeah, the more we speak, the more we talk, the more I'm like, yeah, no, you're in, you're wonderful, yeah. You're one of the real ones.
And it's I mean, if you identify as a sex geek, like, and I say that from a very inclusive, sex positive, social justice kind of side of life. Well, there's already a check. Like, okay, you get to come in audition, kind of.
Yeah, like you already made it past one of the biggest hurdles that people have. If I've got to explain to you like sex work and all these things, and I mean, it doesn't mean it's impossible, but it definitely makes it hard because I don't feel accepted at that point. Like I feel like I have to explain myself to you, my morality, my values, and well, I like doing that.
Or that I'm a party trick.
Something to be like gawked at and exploited or like sensationalized.
Well, maybe? I mean, I don't think it's always a bad thing. Like, okay, I think it's a difference between like when I'm in my head, I'm thinking like the difference between like family and friends. Right?
I have a hard time with that one.
I'm just saying like blood family, right? I have pretty good relationships with both my sisters. I have two sisters, one of three girls. I'm the oldest. I think that walking down the street, would we pick each other as friends? Probably not. We don't have a ton of overlap, right? But we have mutual experience, right? We grew up in this, even though we had three different experiences in the same household, we have that history, and we have all done enough work on ourselves to where we can share space and it not be toxic, right?
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of work done. And I just know going into it that I'm the kind of the party trick if you bring your friends around. Like if I show up at one of my sister's house, a lot of times there's going to be a friend that's like, oh, I've been dying to meet you. Heard so much about you.
I went to this wedding.
Yeah, I don't take any offense at that at all.
Like, she's a sex coach. That was really fun. But at the same time, I'm like, Yeah, I mean, I'm also a
One
regular
time I
ass
did an
gal.
impromptu how to have anal sex.
Yay!
You know what I mean? Like, I love that. It so makes you a sex geek, right? That's different than being like a close friend.
Yeah.
And I find that I think at this niche in my life of like, I didn't know what I was going to be growing up. So like, or even when I was approaching 40, I still didn't quite know how the Michelle as an adult in the work world was going to look like. It's as at 48 years old, I can tell you that for me, it's so much easier to build friendships out of colleagues.
Well, there's a lot of
Because of the
mutuality.
basic level.
Yeah, there's a
Basic
lot of
level of
mutuality.
understanding. And the world that I work in happens to also be, I think, just kind of the people that are in this world, it's our passion.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like we're I don't know, any other, like there's so many other kinds of careers that you pick it up because you're good at it or whatever. But like this is like a way of life. Like I walk through the world practicing what I preach.
Absolutely.
And so I think it becomes really easy to build friendships out of colleagues.
Yeah, like I completely wholeheartedly agree. The reason I even turned it into a profession was because I recognized that I'm like, dude, I'm doing this all the time. Like I've been having these conversations with people. I've been practicing in these spaces and sharing these experiences, and I didn't know there was anything like this beforehand. And when I found out about it, something clicked and I was like, oh, dude, this, why not? And I think it is the first idea I've had, because I was a jack of all trades, smart, bright, and so there were a lot of niches that I thought I could fit in. Like I was like, I want to be a linguist, I want to be a neuroscientist, I want to be this. And eventually, like, and those were all things that I love too. I'm like super geeky about those things, but the passion for it would always fade when I thought about the work involved and things like that. And then this, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm fueled by it. Like, I am so excited every day for what I get to do. And when I get to do it, it lights me up. Like, I feel it inside, like a furnace, just like little Calcifer and Howl's Moving Castle. So, yeah, to find other people who have such amazing experiences, such beautiful, awesome insights and viewpoints, and who share this love too, is such, it's a beautiful thing. It really is. And yeah, that's why I'm really excited that I've been able to make friends like you. And honestly, I think you're my first friend from that whole group and everything. Yay!
I'm so excited.
I am too.
I'm such a dork. I will do the thing like I remember when I met names. Come on, Michelle. At Psych Networker, which is a really, to me, Comic-Con style event in DC every year. It's a long-standing therapy conference. So you get all the top names that, you don't propose to present at Psych Networker. They pick their people. Like there's no sign up. I've looked, right? And so it's like, to me, it's like Comic-Con because I'm a therapy geek and all the great, whoever's got the cool book out and all that kind of stuff, they're the people that are there. And we were super, like, I say me and Brian Gibney, Lou Sanfilippo, I think she's going back to Lou Hansen, and Jeannie Miller, all surrogate partners, were all part of this team called Embrace. And so we go to the conference. This was 2022. And we're really excited because some of the people in my group really know Lucie Fielding well, who Lucie Fielding is a transsex therapist out of Charlottesville, Virginia, where Brian is at.
Oh yeah.
And has this really great book called Transsex. Super, super big deal. Still a super big deal. But that was like, they were hitting hard that year, right? And they're presenting at Psych Networker with Emily Nagoski. Like they have a co-presentation together.
I smiled because I realized my partner Dev bought that book recently when our other partner Nico came in, and because he was like, I want to understand more because I don't share her experience and I want to see what it's like. And I'm like, I love you. But yes, now that you said the book name, I was like, oh. And then you said, my feelings on Miss Emily Nagoski over here. I'm like, love.
So the plan was we were going to invite Lucie and Emily to go to lunch with us afterwards. And I'm kind of thrilled that Emily didn't go to lunch with us. I don't even know if she ever got the invitation because the minute she started talking, I was fighting back tears. I'm in the front row and I'm just like you are changed how I saw myself. I've been told that something was wrong with me for so long. And even though I'd come a long ways before I read the book to really understand my sexuality better. Oh, that book.
Dude, so it has done so much. It has done so much.
Yeah, I feel the emotion come up. Yeah. So I was like, fuck, I can't. How am I going to sit through lunch with this person and like not just like cry? Like, I have a little bit of like, I try not to like shit on myself for my tears, but or for being just profoundly like unapologetically dorky.
Yeah, so, never be ashamed of that.
To finish this story.
Mm-hmm.
So Lucie does come to lunch with us, and we all have a lovely lunch, and then I don't know if it was the next day, a day after, I get a message from her, and she's like, hey, do you want to go on a coffee adventure with me? And I was like, me? Like, of course I would. I don't need to go to any other sessions during this conference. Take me wherever you want. Right?
Yes. Oh, that is so cool.
We jump in an Uber, we go to coffee, and by the end of it, I just go, okay, Lucie, look, I'm a dork, and so I'm just going to say it like this. Are we friends now? Because I really want to be friends. Like, I just, like...
Michelle, you're adorable.
That's who I am. Okay?
I love that.
So,
are you friends?
I'm real and I'm fucking authentic. Right?
And dude, that's such a breath of fresh air. I think, yeah, honestly, as soon as I found myself and was like, yeah, no, this is me and I'm owning it and I'm showing it. Yeah, I get the same kind of like feeling and reception. And okay, but I need to know, are you guys friends now?
I mean, I haven't been able to hang out with her since then.
But you're pen pals? Pen pals?
We have made attempts. Lucie's very busy. But when I've been coming through Charlottesville, I'm like, hey, want to get lunch with me and Brian? Like we attempt to make plans and it doesn't happen. I know we will cross paths again and it'll be delightful.
It'll happen. Oh, it'll be so delightful. Cool. I've been wanting to go to any of these conventions. I know some of them have popped up on the resource emails and things like that. And for me, it's a financial barrier at the moment. I'm still not, making money with my business. It's a very, very young business. And the money I am accruing, bills, all this stuff, system that we live in.
It's hard.
It is. So like there have been so many, but I have like a list of different events that I want to go to and also geek the F out at, so I can see all of these people and just connect, because I also just love hearing them speak. Audiobooks and books are harder for me nowadays to get through. It takes a lot longer, but a good talk will stick with me like very easily. And having conversations with people works really well. So yeah, like that's on the bucket list. Getting to go there, and maybe I'll get to have din-dins with Emily Nagoski someday.
Well, because I'm going to toot my own horn here.
Toot away.
Between Brian and I, at least, if not the rest of our gang, we are very well connected. We are not in the big circles. Like, I would have loved that year. Esther Perel was like the big headliner.
The first book I read, Men, Women, and Wait, nope, that's
Mating in Captivity.
Brown. Esther Perel is the one who talks about mating in captivity and cheating and things like that. Wonderful.
State of the Union was I think the second one.
I listened to her TED Talks as well. I very much liked her.
Oh, Yes. She wore a beautiful leather suit.
It was
green leather suit.
Girl.
I was in the front row.
Girl.
Total fangirling.
I've seen her make her way on TikToks now, and it's fantastic. I remember like 2015, 16 was the first time I heard her speak, and she reframed cheating in her conversation, and it like reshaped a paradigm, like an entire paradigm in my mind. And I was able to understand things from a much more dynamic perspective. And I think honestly that is one of the pinnacle points or pivotal points that began my journey into looking further into this research that was already out there and all these voices and experiences. Heck yeah.
We could do a whole story, like a whole show on people's like origin stories of what got them started and their work or how their relationship style. I remember reading
that'd be interesting.
American Savage from Dan Savage.
Dan Savage, yeah.
Probably 13. And it was my first introduction to like consensual non-monogamy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, holy shit, people do this. Mm-hmm. Like it was like, I was at that time very married, very much eventually coming out of that marriage, but really horrible about cheating. Like part of it was just that I didn't want to be in the relationship, and that was my escape button. I didn't have the vocabulary, the means. Like there was a lot of stuff that is not true for me nowadays.
Torch it somehow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I had, oh my gosh, if we could list all the reasons why I was still married. I remember going to a therapist and he was like, in my 20s, and he was like, people stay married for all sorts of reasons. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I didn't get it in my 20s. I didn't understand that you would stay married for anything other than just robust love. Yeah. Anyways, there's again, many episodes that probably could spring from these conversations. But yeah, Dan was one of those where I was like, holy shit, I didn't know people could do ethical non-monogamy. I didn't know that was a thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I
remember trying
eventually
to find
I did read Mating.
The words for it when I was younger. I remember going, if I could only clone myself and I could date all of you and it would be okay because all of you need so much love and intimacy in your lives. I see you aching for it. And instead of getting all jealous about each other, we could all just exist and be happy together. And that would be nice, right? If that was a thing, that'd be nice. And people just did not. Like, they weren't fans of that idea with me.
I remember second grade. My first boyfriend. I don't even know what that meant.
Holding
honestly,
hands, baby.
But he would do the like send a note around that was like, will you go with me? Yes or no?
Yes or no?
And at that time, I think he was going with me and my two best girlfriends, right?
Oh, okay.
Never considered it as, and I don't know what that meant because I don't even think we ever kissed. Like it was very
trendsetter.
But looking back,
trailblazer.
Yeah, looking back, I was like, yeah, compersion was in my.
It was in your DNA already. Mm-hmm.
It's so funny because it's not as much there anymore, but.
It's wild because I think back on it and like I would even, when you have like childhood crushes and things like that on like weird shit. Like I remember having a crush on all the Power Rangers. And in my dreams, I would date all of them at the same time.
I'm thinking New Kids on the Block. And me and my girlfriends had to split them up. You couldn't have two of you want the same one, right?
Yes, that's true. And then you're like, we
had to make choices back then. And we could have just had a very different idea of how to split up the New Kids.
I proposed sharing. And again, that was just not a popular decision.
Yeah. Last dorky story. So fast forward, I get to talk to Dan Savage. When I started Soft Cock Week last year, I randomly tweeted him one day and said, "Hey, fake Dan Savage, want to talk soft cocks?" And I went to the gym. It was a Tuesday. I go to the gym. I get out of I think Sarah and I probably did, weights and some pool and, hot tub time. And we're getting dressed and I'm waiting on her. She's like combing out her hair, like doing extra that day. And I was like, oh, come on, lady. Right. And I'm like, I'll just catch up on my email, sit down, get in my email. You have a DM from the fake Dan Savage. And I like scream in the locker room I held it back, I'm sure, because I'm very restrained that way. I'm not completely like
internal screams.
Fuck everybody. And I don't care. I do minimize myself a lot. So I go running over to Sarah and I'm like, look, like, point, I can't even talk. Like,
speechless.
Dan Savage wants to talk to me, right? We scheduled. We recorded. That's how I found about Riverside, because Dan was using Riverside. I don't know what he's using now. And the first thing I did was I go, can we just take a couple of minutes so I can fangirl for a second? Like, I couldn't even keep my shit together.
Get it out of the way.
So
Get it out of the way.
Oh, he's shy and humble. And I think I made him uncomfortable.
No, probably not. We always think we do afterwards. And
I don't know what happened, and I'm going to cry saying this story. We recorded twice that day. The first time we talked about Soft Cock Week in a very, like, we had planned what we were going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing. And he wanted to come back and talk about professional cuddling. He was very interested in that.
See,
I thought,
you didn't make him uncomfortable.
Professional cuddler, right?
Mm-hmm. He came back.
And I went to Instagram and I started crying on Instagram. Because, like, this was a fucking dream.
It is.
And I said, I think we're going to work together again. And then I got off the Instagram Live and there was an email from him. And he's like, can you jump back on? Because I just got this caller left a recording and it's perfect for Soft Cock Week. It was a much more complicated question.
Mm-hmm.
It was not as well prepared. We get back on it. We record. It never makes the show.
Oh.
I have reached out multiple times.
Oh.
To ask, like, did I screw something up?
Probably not, honey. Sometimes
I want to know why. Like, I feel like I got ghosted. I know this is like, it was a wonderful opportunity. It felt so cool that I know that he knows who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried a couple of times not to be stalkerish, but to just ask, like, is there something that I did?
Yeah. I mean, it comes from a place,
I don't know. So,
like, there's a deep-seated fear there, like, how you were talking about, how to get to your vulnerability. And I think there is a real worry of, feeling rejected from someone who you hold so highly in esteem. And, having had that huge platitude of, like, whoa, at the opportunity, just to have it surrounded then by this weird nebulous anxiety of, like, did I screw up? Like, I'm not gonna lie, I feel that every time. Like, after we recorded, I was terrified. I was like, I feel like I was a babbling idiot. Like, every time I'm recorded in general. And no, like, I did listen back and I was like, no, girl, you did it. You did great. But, like, there already is that innate sense of, oh, did I do okay? And then to have it kind of coupled with that, like, oh no, it didn't get published. And then, oh no, he never replied. But we can't assume the worst. Honestly,
I know.
It was probably some technical shit. I try to treat it
like I treat my clients.
Yeah.
Well, I try to treat it like I treat my clients. Okay, so for everybody listening, again, this is vulnerable to say that I let myself question if it was me. I let myself question, was I too much?
I mean, I think that's also healthy, though. Like, it's self-reflection. It's checking, it's checking yourself, because it's really easy to go into the space of, like, it can't be me. But to be able to turn it around and objectively look and be like, was there something I did or could have done better, or what was going on there? It helps so much to get validation from the other person too,
But sometimes we're not going to get the answers,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so, like I would say to my clients, if we're going to make up a story, we might as well make up one that makes us look good.
Yeah, right? Exactly. That's going to flip that. Uno reverse that to yourself. Uno reverse that to yourself.
I don't know. Maybe the recording didn't work.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe like, sometimes Riverside, especially back then, was glitchy. Yeah. Maybe he was the timing was
really bad because it was we recorded on a Thursday. Soft Cock Week was starting on Sunday. He drops on Tuesdays. I thought, okay, maybe it just didn't work out timing wise for that year. But I'm sad about it.
Remember that Riverside back then too used to have a lot of horrendous, according to Reddit, glitches in its system and its audio tracking. So it could have just been maybe he wasn't happy with, because you guys said it wasn't as structured as the first one. It was kind of a difficult question. Maybe a lot of times people are more so judging their own performance and how they did.
Yeah.
So maybe more than likely he was preoccupied with, I'm not satisfied with how I answered this. I didn't allow for a good platform for either of us to shine. So I'm just going to...
I would like closure, Dan Savage, if you hear this.
Dan, come on, Dan. Come on.
Bring me back to talk about cuddling or something. I don't know.
Made Michelle cry. That's not how the messages work.
It is also a highlight of my career so far to know I got time with him and he was just such a lovely experience. I do not negate any of that. Like, I just wish it could have, happened.
Or at least that the anxiety.
But I was myself. I was myself. It's that dork, right? The dork shows up and that's who I am.
And you're afraid that someone's going to be like, you nerd. I feel that. Like,
it's always endearing for the most part. I have to say, like, I could bet money in most cases my dorkiness actually helps me.
I feel like that's why we get along. I'm obviously a dork too. Like, we're both weird dorks and we love what we do. And we kind of fly by the seat of our pants and we just enjoy ourselves with what we do. We really take joy in this and in these spaces. And that's a beautiful thing. And if he did think you were a nerd, I'm going to punch him in the face. This is a threat.
No, it's okay. Okay. I appreciate that. And those are not what I need from my friends.
No, I know. I remember again.
I don't really look for friends that are like that.
I don't punch.
I think it's awesome.
I verbally punch.
I think it's awesome that I have people that would come to bat for me. But I like to do my own. I really, part of my own growth has been learning to go to bat for myself.
I love that. Me too. I need to
being able to hold my own and not cow. Like, I think it's fine to let other people take up swords for you if you're in that space where you need that. But part of my work has been to try to do that for myself because my inner child needs me to.
Yeah, same. That's been my challenge lately. Like, when I'm at my most cowed, like you said, to be able to stand up for myself in the way that I stand up for others. And no, it's never punching people in the face. I make that as a joke. But it is strongly worded.
Maybe verbally.
It is very strongly worded emails. It's my weapon of choice. Or messages. I'm very... Because that way you can sit and think, If I try to say it out loud, I'm like, you're mean. you're not nice.
I don't even know how I feel like I haven't had to address. I live in a really weird bubble. I feel very, very fortunate that I work with people that I really get along so easily with, that I'm not confronted with conflict very often. But I do appreciate how I've learned to stand in grace in conflict. Like really, I have good role models around me that have been excellent at helping me have compassion for the person that I'm kind of coming up against.
Yeah, and you're wonderful. I don't want you to forget that you are a wonderful, bubbly, geeky, and intelligent person, and you do so much wonderful work, so much wonderful things for people. You heal every day. Every day you heal, whether you realize it or not. The moments that you get to see with your clients, as well as those lives that you touch through your voice, through these words, like, they matter. They echo and resonate far beyond what we may even perceive. And that's no small thing. You are a nice, shiny ball of light, and you glow up everything around you. Speaking of those projects, Soft Cock Week was a success.
I know, we've got to. We're an hour and 10 minutes into this.
Did you like that segue? Soft Cock Week was a wonderful success. Hey, Bricks.
You and I could...
Bricks.
Yeah. Okay.
He's pushing my stuff.
Soft Cock Week was an amazing, wonderful week. And if you didn't catch the live things, I don't know what to tell you other than get on it for next year, right? Get on the mailing list now so that you can try not to miss. I don't know what next year is going to look like.
Yeah.
But whatever it looks like, getting on the mailing list at softcockweek.com will make sure that you have that information.
Or if you want to be a guest on that list.
Yeah.
Reach out.
Yeah, for sure. I think this year the big win was the podcast.
Oh, yeah. The podcast itself, like the whole thing?
Yeah, I think for me, it was the most, I had the most fun doing it.
I love that.
And that's a win. Like, I very much, again, I walk the walk. I walk the talk, whatever. This year, I'm great at starting things. I'm not great at finishing them.
But you finished it. It's published.
Well, I'm saying like I launched it last year. This year became I had high expectations, and I was like, nope, I'm not seeing a yes there. I need to modify. And my yes was showing up around doing the podcast. And so
I love that.
We had 7 really great interviews on the podcast. You were one of them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. What was the most?
What I loved about.
Oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say what I think I loved about our interview the most was that how much you share openly about your life, like I do. Like I sometimes like, oh, Michelle, like I think I said one thing, like I choose not to take a route of privacy so much, and that I'm really fortunate that my husband is really with me in that, but it would be okay if he had a different choice, right? Yeah. That he deserves to have a choice in that too. And so when I see like a kindred spirit in this kind of transparency, and like, that's not my vulnerability, is sharing about that stuff. That's like, I'm a storyteller. I love telling a story.
It is so important too, I feel, for people to hear that their stories are not isolated, that other people have these experiences. I think that grows community, and it grows, it's visibility. It's visibility to be able to see yourself in someone else's life as well. And I think it's one of the most healing things we can do. And that's why I think one of the reasons I felt so strongly from the beginning of this that, yes, I want to be as open and candid with facets about my life, because there's nothing to be ashamed of. And this is a normal thing. Sexuality is normal. It's human. It's not gross. It's not meant to just kind of be locked away in a box somewhere. The more we model what it's like to speak without fear about our sexual lives, I think we do the world a good service by showing what it can be like, you know? I wanted to ask, though, what was like, out of all these wonderful 7 people, myself included, that you got to interview, what was like one of your favorite takeaways? Like, what was a piece of information that like you were like, ooh, okay, and you like really adopted and like latched on and put it in your collection?
I could pick one of those out of every event and every interview.
That's so good.
So that's like an impossible. There was a highlight for me in every one of them. I'm trying to think, was there something big I actually really learned this year? And I know there was, and what was it? Oh, I think it was with Erica Leroy. I don't know if you caught that interview.
Not yet. Which one was she? Which one? What was the topic on that one?
I think she's the one right before you, actually. Our topic was masturbation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in the title, we talked about lots of things. I met Erica through the West Coast Intimacy Professionals. And she just kind of really was like, oh, you do Soft Cock Week. I have also this passion to educate around that topic. And so we started to meet pretty regularly. She turned into kind of an accountability partner for me in like, I'd be like, Erica, here's what I want to do. And then it'd be like, Erica, I can't seem to pull the trigger on any of these things. I'm not feeling my yes. And then I come back, okay, Erica, here's where I think I found my yes at. And she never she just showed up as like a witness,
like a body double for our
and like
ADHDers
a
out there.
sounding board.
Yeah.
Like, it was not, come on, Michelle, you've made these promises to yourself or whatever that you're gonna, it wasn't that kind of accountability.
Mm-mm.
It was like, yeah, I'm really appreciating you following your yes. It was like permission to like really embody those things that I work so hard to help other people learn how to embody. She was kind of holding that. In her episode, the reason why she has this connection to Soft Cock Week is a personal story for her. And I thought I filled in the blank with her on her personal story that it was about undiagnosed diabetes, losing a partner, and if they had noticed if they had the soft cock situation looked at by a doctor, that was the story that I had filled in the blanks around. No, what I learned there was that it was the lack of ejaculation during sexual encounters that was the unrecognized sign of diabetes.
Oh.
That they didn't know to connect and talk to the doctor about.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is wild, because that is some real insider info. Like, I would have never, I know a lot of medical professionals also probably would not have looked there right at the get-go.
Evidently, it's a really common symptom of undiagnosed diabetes. I didn't have that on my radar.
Huh, well, now I do
that
too.
Was not on my bingo card.
And this is why you should listen to all of the episodes out there, because you're going to learn nuggets of information like this. That's
Susie
wild.
Gronsky, pelvic floor PT.
Yes.
I love that we got to talk, because like each of these episodes have kind of a topic to them, but the thing is like if you look at it and you go, oh, I don't have prostate cancer, so I don't need to listen to Susie Gronsky talk about pelvic floor PT post prostate cancer diagnosis. Then you missed a little cool little thing where she teaches us how to use penis pumps.
Like, that's the kind of beauty of it, though.
Penis pumps are super fun.
Oh, yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yeah. That's the fun of it, though, and why I like the structure of your podcast so much, being so freeform, because it allows the experts to just really play in the space and just share this wealth of knowledge that we have. So yeah, like it's worth digging through to find those kernels of information that might pertain or help you or someone you love or know. Like, it's worth having.
Yeah. Gosh, I could like pull out like weird, like I loved in Mish Middleman's interview, he quoted this physiotherapist. I can't think of her name. A watched cock never comes. And I was like,
a watched cock never comes. Yes.
Like,
just staring at
there's a t-shirt. There's a t-shirt or a bumper sticker or something.
It's true.
There was another one. There's another one of those that I don't remember. I can't come to it right now, but I know there was another one where there was some quote from something, and I was like, oh my God, that's a great one. And I think it was maybe Joe Court had a good one. Trying to remember what it was. I can't think of it.
Find that, listen to that episode.
Joe Court, I love Joe Court's episode because Joe and I worked so hard to get that episode recorded, because
wasn't that the final one?
It's the final one.
Yeah, that's the one I started listening to.
It was on our recording where he's like, oh wait, you're the creator of Soft Cock Week? Like the two had not been put together.
Like, you're like, yes, it's me.
He had started liking Soft Cock Week stuff the first year. I put in there that I'm connected, but Joe and I didn't have a relationship. So while a lot of people know me, not everyone knows me. even though it feels like it sometimes. And so I'd run into him at Psych Networker, again, place to be.
Great con.
And I had stopped him as he was walking past. I was like, "Hey, Joe," and like we had a quick conversation. I said, "I would love to talk to you about Soft Cock Week," and he said, "Call my office, set up a time with them." And I was like, "Okay, great." And so we ended up having a phone call to kind of talk about, getting together to talk about Soft Cock Week. And then it just kept we had to keep rescheduling it because time zones, and he was traveling when he'd schedule it. But then you know how that goes where you're like, your phone picks up the time zone you're in, and then it doesn't really translate when you get back. We had a lot of work to make that one happen. And so when it did happen, I was like, thank you for trying, right? Because so many people would be like, this isn't going to work. It's too much. It's too hard. I can't get it. We can't get our calendars to sync up right. And he didn't give up on it. And I was just so happy about that. And we got to have a really lovely conversation about sides, which is a term that he coined for gay men that don't like to top or bottom. And in that episode, he talked about this could be for anybody that just isn't into intercourse for whatever reason.
I love that.
And I was just like, oh, that's awesome. Like, thanks. I like the inclusiveness of it. So yeah, lots of really warm, fuzzy feelings from the week. And while I go, oh, it's so much work. Oh my God, it's so much work.
It's so worth it.
Kind of like having a baby at the end. You're like, but I have this baby and I forget all the work that it was. And I can't wait for next year.
Worth it. It's worth it. Now you're like, I want to have another soft cock baby.
Right. So the glitch. So, the first live event is from last year, and this year was the soft opening, which is like a town hall kind of community space to talk about our experiences. We don't record that. That is about keeping everyone's privacy. We set the container, we lock the door kind of thing. We want to make sure everybody feels as safe as possible to talk openly in that space.
Love that.
Amy Weisfeld and Peace Buffalo did an event the next night on Monday night, like Soft Cock Shame 7 Strategies to Save Your Sex Life, I think was the title of it. And they intended to record it, and then they paused the recording for breakout rooms and forgot to start it back up again. So,
oh no,
we have like 20 minutes of it, and I'm going to put that out there in a follow-up resource email that's going to go out in the next few days. I'm waiting on something. This is the good and the bad and the sad. The last event was a soft cocktail mixer, which was here on Riverside. We got to have, it allowed for me plus 7 guests and an unlimited audience. And we had 7 guests on 6 rooms. So Amy and Peace were together. So all of these screens going. We had some connection issues, but it should be okay because the way Riverside works is that we're all kind of recording in our own space that gets uploaded continuously to the platform and
localized host. Hey.
Yes. So I went in and I had it work its magic. I, edited out basically the beginning and the end where we had some conversation about how this was going to work. I hit export, and it comes out with a package that is shit.
Oh.
It is like me talking. Like, I remember in the beginning I said, I was introducing myself, and then I say, Phoenix, why don't you introduce yourself? And Phoenix says, thanks, Michelle, and starts introducing themselves. And in the final process, it was like, Michelle is I'm in the middle of my introduction. And then Phoenix is like, thanks, Michelle, and starts their introduction. So it's not.
That's the issues.
Together,
That's
right?
the issues Reddit said would happen occasionally. Overlap. Weird overlap. Ooh.
Yeah. I went, this was on, we recorded this on Saturday. So on Sunday morning I do this, and I go to Marco Polo, one of my favorite apps amongst my close friends. And I'm like, my friend's stuff will be readily available to listen to me cry. Because I just was like, I just need a place to fall apart and be frustrated and scream and kick and cry about this. And Steph comes back with, I love playing with audio. Why don't you send me the files over and maybe I can sort this out?
An angel.
And then I cried some more.
Amazing.
Because I didn't know that about Steph, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right now, as of Thursday, November 16th at 11:36 a.m. Pacific time, I am waiting for Steph to come back with something. And I'm trying not to poke and come on, I want this at a certain time. I'm just grateful that they're volunteering to help me sort this out.
Oh, heck yeah. Make sure you send her all of the localized separate audio files too.
I did.
Okay, perfect. That's Steph. Thank you. Thank you so much. That is so sweet. I adore that.
Yeah.
That oh my God. It reminds me of if you're depressy and a friend comes over and cleans your house for you or helps clean your house. I used to do that for my friends too. It's the same kind of thing where you're like, I am overwhelmed. I am in that space. And they're like, here, I've got you. I can
talk about gratitude.
Yeah. See, look at that. Look at these beautiful moments that you've had in this process to celebrate that.
So I think we're going to be okay. Yeah. I mean, I think we have the files. It was a lot of work to download each file and then put them in my Google Drive so that Steph could access them. I'm over my limit with Google. They're like, you need to upgrade your package. And I'm like, I'm not going to keep these files here.
Just open a different email.
They give me a 14-day grace period. So I'm okay. But so when this comes out, know that if you hear this and you were over on the Soft Cock Week fan side, it's coming.
The soft cock is coming.
My old tagline was, it's coming or not, and that's okay too. But we're trying real hard. It's a delayed response.
A watched cock never comes. Don't watch out for it. Just let it happen.
This is the beauty. The underlying message of Soft Cock Week is, I want you to be able to show up in sexual situations, no matter how your penis shows up. We just want to roll with it and get off the sexual escalator. And I listened to Get Naked with Dr. Kate Ballesteri, I think is how you pronounce her last name.
Did you send me one of those episodes?
It was this episode.
It was a really good
David, one. Khalil, I think is his last name.
Yeah, something like that.
There was an extra. Anyways, I don't know.
Phenomenal guest. Phenomenal guest.
Yeah, I talked to him on Monday. We had a conversation. We had a quick call. We're recording soon.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But he talked a lot about circular, the circular. It was linear sex, circular sex. And so he kind of described it as a 70s rotating bed.
Yes.
And all the different sex things are on the edge. And anyways, so he's coming out. I don't think we're going to talk about that. He is very much an attachment geek. That's his forte is attachment styles. I know.
I love that.
Right?
Sorry,
my
dog keeps pushing my table. As he lies down, he gets very dramatic and starts shoving things. So if you see a earthquake happening, viewers, or hear it, and that's Brigstopher being passive aggressive.
It's okay. That's what puppies do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, that interview happened during the week of Soft Cock Week. And I was like, this is a great interview for Soft Cock Week. And so I'll put it in the show notes for all the things too.
Oh, that's so exciting.
We had a great conversation and I feel very aligned with him. And so again, I feel like as I'm getting to know this podcast, I kind of don't want to come in with an agenda.
Just free form. It's a lab. Labs are for experiments.
Yeah. And I mean, you and I could come back and just literally answer "We're not really strangers" cards and fill a 45-minute.
Oh, easily. We easily did 2 hours of talking.
We're at an hour and a half right now.
Oh yeah. So. It's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm always down for that. I love talking.
That's what I want.
It's odd.
That's what I've wanted for this podcast.
Just a random note. I notice that when I talk to you in Zoom format or whatever we're on, I always look at you. most times I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I like looking at my face. So I'll look at my face, which is why I position my little camera view up here so it kind of looks like I'm looking up at the camera. But I look at you very genuinely when we talk. I enjoy our conversations so thoroughly.
And I love that we can record them, because I have so many. I've always said, I've had these friendships where I'm like, we get off a call and it'll be like fucking 2 hours later. Right. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, if we could have recorded that and shared that, there's so much richness in there. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to know, who are the people that I have really great conversations with, who are cool with me recording our conversations, mm-hmm. And sharing them, because I love that is my ultimate fantasy.
I mean, I think you're kind of living it out. I think that's what mm-hmm. Intimacy Lab is kind of mm-hmm. organically becoming on its own kind of volition. I love
figuring it out.
Mm-hmm. We're experimenting, kind of like we do with the circular bed of sex toys.
There's a diagram of the circular sex. David has a couple books.
Oh,
so I went, as a good geeky fangirl does, I purchased, he has a men's mental health workbook, which I was very curious about, because I do work with a lot of men who maybe are hesitant to do talk therapy. Mm-hmm. And I think the workbook is a really great way to maybe take some inventory mm-hmm. of where you might need support.
I'm actually going to check that out then too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then he also has a guide for like when you have anxiety with sex, which is a couple of my current clients. And so I was like, I need to know what's in this guide, right? And mm-hmm. There's some exercises in there that I look forward to kind of workshopping and seeing how they play out in real life in the lab.
In the lab.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing all that you become and what you continue to create. It's all going to be wonderful. It always is.
Just keep following the yes.
Keep following your yes. Absolutely. That's
it won't. I don't think it will steer you wrong.
No, honestly, it hasn't. I mean, I've tried to work when I'm in my no, and it just doesn't happen. Like, that is the big, or what I produce is just such utter crap. It is so forced. It is so it's a very constipated feeling, like creatively constipated. But when you're in your yes, like everything flows, the doors open, things just kind of reveal themselves, and it's a lovely place to be. I feel like it's, lets you know that you're on the right track, on the right path.
Well, and I think that it's about not letting anything in life become inflexible. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? Like water. Now we're coming up on the end of 2023. And I'm like, what a great time to figure out some, like, I'm going through and I'm auditing some of my policy and for my practice, right? Mm-hmm. Doing a little bit of a price increase because it's really good practice.
It is, like, taking this time instead of like just kind of creating these sometimes unachievable goals that we think we should be doing, like, let's go to the gym, let's do these things. Just taking like you said, an audit, like a tally of what you already have, and refreshing it, pruning it like a plant, and seeing like, where can this grow, what can I let go of.
Well, I've grown, right? And my policy needs to grow. Where I see my cancellation policy, something really, all the little fine details, right?
Logistics.
I want to change my cancellation policy. I want to change my rate. I want to restructure this certain offering, right? Because I've changed, and my work, how do I see my work changes all the time. And so, like I said, the declaration, I want to have an office by the end of this next year. How does that change some of the other things that I'm doing in my work? So I don't know where I was going with that, but the lab, I guess, is another, the Intimacy Lab podcast is another one of those things where I'm figuring it out as I go.
Yeah, it's a good way to be. It's kind of what I'm doing too, with all of my little projects and even my business, and honestly my life. It's a good practice to be.
If you think you're going to figure it out, and then you get to put a little period at the end of it.
There's
nah.
Like, there's a certain brittleness to rigidity, right? They use this this analogy of like a rigid surface, like noodles. You crack them and they break because they're tried to be so firm in their structure. Instead of like water makes it everywhere. Water gets into nearly everything until it's sealed. Like there's or something that's really nice and moisturized, like your skin. Dry skin cracks because it's rough, and then softened skin is nice and malleable. There's something to being fluid. There's something wise in going with the flow of where things take you. Like if you have a set idea of what something's supposed to look like, you're really limiting yourself. Whereas I always say your compass is oriented in the right direction. Just feel free to walk that way and take whatever paths speak to you at that time, and you will be where you need to be when you need to be at that time. Yeah.
And that ties us back to Soft Cock Week.
Yes, it does.
You don't need rigidity in your life.
You don't. It's good to be malleable. Yes, I love that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The rigidity, if you think that that's required, you're missing out, right? You're
limiting
losing
yourself
out on opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So check out Soft Cock
Adelina.
Week. I love you too.
Yeah. Check out softcockweek.com and get on the newsletter.
Get on the newsletter, listen to the podcast, support.
Adelina, I look forward to seeing you over on Sexplorations.
Yes. It was Explorations this Monday. We are recording, and probably by the end of my yeses, it'll be released sometime in November. So take a look out for that when it happens, and I'll announce it on my Instagram.
That reminds me, I'm on a new show.
What?
A new season of an old show. Sorry. I recorded an episode for a show that I can't say what it is because of contract shit. But I think I recall they said the episode would be coming out sometime this month, and we are now halfway through the month. So if you're listening to this, you should probably also sign up for my newsletter so that when that drops, I can direct you towards it.
I kind of have a newsletter.
All the newsletters.
I don't really use it that much unless I'm doing like a workshop or something. So yeah, you can go to my website and sign up for that too. Or not. Either way. It's okay.
Or find us on social media.
Yeah.
Find Adelina, where do they find you on social media?
Once again, it's at Ask Addie Adler. AskAdddyAdler. And that's it.
And I'm at Meet Michelle Renee. And
2 E's.
That's enough for today.
That is enough for today. Take care, everybody.
All right.
You're lovely.
Thank you for joining us. If you'd like to comment, pose a question, or learn more about the guests often featured on the show, visit us at intimacylabpodcast.com. Please also take a moment to review us on your favorite podcast app. It's one of the best ways to show your support. As for me, you can find out more about my work at meetmichellerenee.com, as well as on most social medias at meetmichellerenee. Let's connect again soon.